We go to the phones. It's not even a smack-off day. Iafrate. What's going on, my brother? Oh!
We've all been watching that monster in KC perform like no athlete ever has. And always behind him for the world to see, a beaming Mr. Burrow, smiling Patrick's dad. How proud he must have been to be Patrick's dad. Each time he got maimed by Chris Jones. How great it must have felt to be Patrick's dad, watching his son be better year after year. Good night, Burrowhead!
Unbelievable. Iafrate. We are not worthy, brother. We are not worthy. I mean, I guess I got to give you a little bit of background to understand, so you understand just how brilliant that was. We knew he'd call today, being the ultimate Chiefs fan. We knew that he would say, "I told you so" today. Little did I know that he'd work that into a song the way he just did, but I should have known. This goes all the way back to Neems, probably a quarter of a century ago on this show. John Neems is a singer-songwriter that I had a beef with back in the day because before there was any social, he sent me an old-school CD, an album. He's a singer-songwriter, and he wrote a song called Michael's Dad.
How proud he must have
This is Neems.
to be Michael's dad.
You know how proud he was, Neems? Not half as proud as you were of that song.
Hear the crowd cheer.
So
How great.
keep that in mind, Alvin. So Neems, way back in the day, sent me that. I played it. I listened to it. You know, back in the day, the show used to be so fun because people would send things. And then I'd pop them in and we'd listen. And generally, it was an A or an F. There was no C. It was either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. That clearly, to me, was the worst thing ever. So I got on the air one day and I'm like, yo, Neems, I don't know who the hell you are. I don't want to know who the hell you are. I just want to know why you sent me that garbage. That is some of the worst music I've ever heard, if not the worst song I've ever heard. And then Neems just went bat bleep crazy because that was his life's work. Clearly, that was his Let It Be. And then Neems went on some rampage about how that song had been heard in 300 countries. And the beef was on, and the beef lasted about a decade until we finally made up. But in and around all that, Iafrate called the smack off one day with a parody of that song, and it was genius. And it was about Whitey's dad, Brian Albers.
We've all been watching a guy on Romy's team
The year on that?
perform like no albino ever has, and always behind him.
All right, so this call that you're hearing
for
right
the
now
world to see,
was made in 2004.
beaming
So like 20 years ago, Iafrate called me with this.
smiling
And the best thing about this, he literally composed the whole thing and played
how proud
the
he
keyboard
must have
himself.
been.
Iafrate, before he changed careers and reinvented himself and transformed his life completely, not because he was homeless, no offense, Driz. He just changed careers. He's in the music industry.
How great it must have
That was
felt.
20 years ago, roughly. Fast forward to just what happened, and he brought the song back again and turned it into another father angle.
We've all been watching that monster in KC.
By the way, he sounds the same
perform
as he
like
did 20
no
years ago.
athlete ever has, and always behind him for the world to see.
This is for the Cincinnati Mayor.
Beaming Mr. Burrow, smiling Patrick's dad.
A smiling Patrick's dad.
How proud he must have been to be Patrick's
All right, so I got that,
dad.
Albie. So again, the question. Is Iafrate not the best caller ever? Not if you go by notches. Not if you go by straps. Not if you go by titles. But who does that? I will tell you this. Iafrate might not be, quote, the best caller ever, and he might be. If he's not the best caller ever, he's definitely the smartest caller ever, the most creative caller ever. And then all seriousness aside, knowing Iafrate a little bit, he is one of the most talented, creative people I've ever met in any walk of life. Not one of the smartest, most creative clones I've ever met. He is one of the smartest, most talented, creative people I have ever met in any walk of life. So whenever that dude calls up, and especially when I don't know what's coming, although I did know it was coming today, Ken, it's just a matter of when. You never know what you're going to get. That's genius. That's absolutely a brilliant phone call. One of my favorites. One of my favorite Iafrate moments ever. Incredible. If you look at his resume, and again, he'd have an even better resume if he didn't have the job that he has. His job is all-consuming. He's out of the country. He travels frequently. I can't even begin to fathom how many people are dependent upon Iafrate for what he does. Despite all the things that he does and all the things that he means to so many people, check out this track record. He's got 2 firsts, 5 seconds, 4 thirds, 3 fourths, and 3 fifths in his smack-off career. And again, this is not somebody who is listening every day and working in reps and being that jungle contributor. We only hear from him generally once or twice a year. On the smack-off if we're lucky, and the second time when he wants to tell me I'm talking out my ass and I'm wrong. Patrick, Stucknut nailed it. Patrick's dad. Unbelievable. It is.
Unbelievable.
And you have to understand one more thing about Iafrate. Dude, he loves the Chiefs. He didn't just do that because that's funny. He didn't just do that to get a little jungle run. He doesn't need the jungle run. He doesn't want the jungle run. In fact, he wants nothing to do with any of you clones. I'm not saying that he thinks he's better than you. He is. But I'm not saying that he thinks he's better than you. He just wants nothing to do with you. That I will say. But that came from a different place, that song. That wasn't, I want to be racked. I want them to talk about me. Dude, he loves the Chiefs. Loves the Chiefs. Bella B, quote, Iafrate serenading the jungle. Wow. Life is good. Abigail, quote, I still say he should have won the smack-off. You can, Abby. You can say that all you want. That's why we do it. That's why we have it. Doesn't matter who I pick as the winner every year. Somebody's always pissed. Hey, and by the way, Iafrate was pissed, I think, that he didn't win. You think you're pissed? He's the one who finished in second. Ponus Wagner, quote, call of the year. Maybe. Maybe. Squirrel 2. The best thing about you and Neems making up was that he wrote an equally horrible song called Jim Rome, It's Neems from Home, as an olive branch. That's actually true.
Jim Rome, it's Neems from home. 10 years later, I'm tweaking your song for the clones. Jim Rome, I've lowered my tone.
Remind me again why I forgave this guy.
Won't bleep me off the phone.
I mean, I know time heals all wounds, like 10 years, but it's all rushing back over me again. This song is almost a reason to go.
Too mad. By the way, you blasted me and my song for Michael's dad. But time has healed my wounds.
Not
and
mine.
Now I'm not even sad. So Rome, it's Neems from home.
The
To
lyrical
all the
genius behind that.
clones.
So Rome, it's Neems from home.
Peace out.
So Rome, it's Neems from home. My home is a dome. I am no gnome. I love Patrick Mahomes. Wow, Neems. I forgot how horrible that ode to me was. We made up, though. I've made up with a lot of people I've beefed with. Because I'm just, for who, for what? I'm not going to carry that negative energy around. Although I may save some for you, Neems. I forgot how horrible that song was. That's even worse than Michael's dad. Anyway, it's not about you. It's not about you, Neems. Are you still in Vegas? Where are you, Neems? Neems, don't call. Iafrate. Only Iafrate can show up like that when nobody expects it and do something like that and knock the jungle off its axis. Who else can do that? The BIC, maybe. But the BIC generally will show up just the day of, collect his money and his hardware and be that guy because he's that good. Iafrate, though, man, sneaky. Not sneaky in that he showed up haphazardly or we didn't expect it. I knew he was going to call. Like I said, he calls for like 3 reasons. Smack off, to talk junk about somebody that just got beat by somebody he loves, and to tell me I'm wrong about something. All 3 are equally awesome. Squirrel 2. Actually, I just read his. Jim, Iafrate is the greatest caller to your show, period. Mike and KC. We can have that argument.
Period.
I'm normally not a poll guy or a Rushmore guy or an argument guy, but it's interesting, isn't it? Is Iafrate the best caller ever to the program? He doesn't have the BIC straps. He doesn't have the Cowboy Nation's rings. But could either one of them do what he just did? At Matt Mikla, quote, I'm dead. Driving my work truck with the biggest idiot smile on my face thanks to the legend Iafrate. I mean, it's hard to argue. This guy writes, Iafrate is the bard of the jungle. You, of course, being the king, holding court with other nobles like Alvy, etc. Meanwhile, Iafrate, decked out in royal purple stockings, frilly short skirt, and puffy hat with a long peacock feather sticking out from it, prancing around, singing and playing a mandolin for your entertainment. Duke in Vancouver. And that's not true, dude. There's so much more than that. I mean, he might be playing a mandolin or his little Casio keyboard. I don't even know what it is. Dude can play whatever the hell he wants. Guitar, jug, mandolin, cello, trumpet, whatever. Iafrate's one of those guys that can pick up. If you just put something in front of him, he'll pick it up and he'll make use. And he'll win. That takes a different type of intellect and creativity. That was awesome. Loved it. Rack that call, Alvy. If you want to weigh in, clones, have a little fun. I'm going to talk about Eli Apple when we come back. If you want to weigh in on the GOAT and the best caller ever on this show, you can go ahead and do that. No problem with that. I'll entertain that conversation. I'm not even sure what the answer is. BIC? BIC for sure. He's the most decorated caller. Hard to argue with the BIC. But Iafrate, man, he's done things that even the BIC's never done. And their beefs are legendary. BIC going in on old man Iafrate is incredible. Left changed the game. You got to admit that. Left changed the game, the smack-off game.